Hello, I'm Mark Chapman. Before you get stuck into this podcast, I want to tell you about the Daily Euros. The Football Daily podcast is changing as we turn our full attention to the international stage. It'll be your daily dose of Euros analysis, debate and news as we bring you all the action with some of the biggest names in the game. We'll have reporters inside all the home nations' camps, bringing you interviews with the players, coaches and managers throughout the tournament. So join us and get ready for the Euros like no other on the Daily Euros. Listen on BBC Sounds. Now, back to your podcast.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hi, Gary here. Just a reminder that the Match of the Day Top 10 podcast is a bit different from what you're used to seeing from us on TV, and there may occasionally be some colourful language, particularly from the Geordie contingent. Thanks for listening. Platini, Van Basten, Gullit, Gascoigne, Zidane, Ronaldo, Shearer. Just some of the great names that have lit up the Euros over the last 50 years or so. But who are the stars going to be of 2021? This time on Match of the Day Top 10, we're going to get the old crystal ball out and try to predict who will be the top performers in this summer's tournament. If you're listening or watching this after it started, or indeed when it's finished, well, you'll be able to see how accurate we were for the worst. Alan and Micah are with me as ever. Before we look ahead, let's look back. Your favourite player in Euros history, Alan? Apart from yourself.
Well, I've got to look to the top scorers. I'm not in the position that I play in, and Platini and Ronaldo. And I'm pretty sure that Ronaldo will go past that and be the outright leader, sitting on both of them, sitting on 9 goals at this moment in time. So I would expect Cristiano to get at least one and be the top scorer in Euros history.
Zidane up there as well,
Zidane.
probably?
He was my top midfielder, wasn't he? So Zinedine. He won it in 2000, was it?
Yep.
So, yes, I'll have to go Zidane. He's just effortless. Top player.
OK, well, we're going to try and look ahead to these tournaments. Obviously, we'll have some big stars in there and one or two that we think will possibly emerge. But we'll branch out and talk about... In fact, we'll probably review the tournament a little bit and how we think it'll go. It's slightly different to our other top 10s, but here we go anyway. Where else can we start but with France and Kylian Mbappé, already a World Cup winner, but this is his first Euros. England's Harry Kane, hopefully not taking any corners. The winners in 2016, although injured in the final, now going into his... I misread that. Winner in 2016, although injured in the final, now going into his 5th Euros. 5th, Cristiano Ronaldo. Coming off the back of his umpteenth stellar season for Bayern Munich is Poland's Robert Lewandowski. Kevin De Bruyne had a fine tournament in 2016 before Belgium were shocked by Wales in the quarter-finals. After a superb season for Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes goes to his first Euros after missing out on the squad when Portugal won in 2016. Paul Pogba had an up-and-down tournament in 2016 as France reached the final. He'll be hoping to go one better this time. 3 goals for Gareth Bale in 2016 Euros as well as made the semis. What can he do this time? And Ilkay Gundogan will look to take his Manchester City form this season into the Euros with Germany. And we've gone for a young Englishman, Phil Foden, been such a star, of course, for Manchester City this season. Right, we've got some decent players in there for you to give me a list. Alan, 10 to 6.
10 to 6. 10 is Bale.
Yep.
9 is Gundogan. 8 is Bruno Fernandes. 7 is Phil Foden. And 6 is Paul Pogba.
Micah.
I've got Gundogan number 10. Pogba.
Manchester City.
Yeah.
Surprising there. Go on.
Pogba number 9. Ronaldo number 8. Bale number 7. And Foden number 6.
All right. Gareth Bale, Alan. That's obviously a wonderful talent. Is that because he's perhaps in the twilight stages of his career more?
Nah, well, we've seen the best of Gareth Bale. I know he had his move.
His best was very good.
His best was unbelievable, and what a career he had! What a decision he made when he went to Real Madrid. It's all worked out well for him there in terms of winning the trophies.
Yeah.
I know he.
Last couple of seasons he had troubles, hasn't he, with fans and injuries and not playing, but he before that he'd done so many.
He was a great talent. Scored some wonderful goals. Was a huge part of what Wales did in the last one. But I just don't see them having enough in their squad to get going what they had a few years ago.
Yeah, I would agree with Alan on that. The only thing is a little bit higher up in me because he plays with a smile, doesn't he? When he plays for Wales,
Seems happy, doesn't he?
he seems like and sometimes when you're happier, you play football. You mentioned the last tournament, it was exceptional, but I feel he's got something still to give. And, international football's a lot slower. He's still got his set pieces. Even the latter part of the season under at Spurs, he's done well.
Yeah, he's some great goals.
He's still got that moment of quality. And in a tournament, we've seen all the highlights and the goals and what. He's still got that quality. So I've got him just a bit higher. He's up in my 7.
Yeah. Gundogan. You've got him low. I thought you'd have him higher because he's been so brilliant this season and you're Manchester City man.
No, I've got
disloyal there?
A bit disloyal. No, I really like Gundogan as a player. I just believe this is his best ever season. He's in a formation where he can make late runs and he can take more risks because of the players that he's got around him, and he's playing with confidence. But I don't think he will. I think he'll have a good tournament, but I don't think he'll be the one to really light it up. And Germany,
I'm not sure either. I'm going to say I'm not totally convinced Germany will get out of the groups.
They're in a tough group, aren't they?
Yeah, France and Portugal.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Really. He's had a very good season, hasn't he? Because when Pep sort of changed that system without a recognised number 9 or goal scorer, it was him for that 2 or 3 months that sort of stood up and scored so many goals. So I think he'll approach the tournament with confidence.
Yeah.
Not so much a great team, Germany, like we've seen over the past. But I think he will. I think he'll be decent. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, it's been interesting, hasn't it? This season with Manchester City, the fact that they've been so successful without really playing a centre forward. Aguero's played sparingly. Jesus has not played that often. If he has, he's often played in wide. Do you think we're a dying breed, Alan? Centre forwards. We've got 1 or 2 in this list. Lewandowski.
Well, look at Lewandowski and Kane. They would have something to say about that with the goals that again they've scored this season and over the years. I think it's they're more known as forwards now, aren't they, rather than centre forwards? Someone who can play anywhere along the line. I mean, there isn't that many number 9s, is there? There isn't that the way you can say he's the centre forward.
It's like is not just in the Euros, but generally people like there's Kane and there's Vardy, obviously, and there's Lewandowski and
Haaland.
Yeah, it's a shame Haaland's not in this tournament, isn't it? Because how good's he going to be? I mean, he's a beast.
He's a beast, and he just. When you play against a striker, and sometimes they just want to be messing around, going and getting the ball and looking fancy. He's not bothered.
No.
Just get me in the box, I'll score. You see that there was a moment in the Champions League where he brushed Diaz off the ball and absolutely beasted, and I was like, wow. Yeah. If you're doing that to Diaz, he could become the next. We talked about, Lewandowski and Kane being top, but
I don't know whether you saw the German Cup final, but there was a moment when he did it with Upamecano.
Yes.
Very, very strong. It was like, woof, get out of the way, little boy.
He could be anything. He's sensational.
Yeah. If you, we've got one of them in here, Harry Kane. I mean, who now looks like he's available. He may have been signed by this point. I rather doubt it though. You've got Harry Kane available or Haaland. If you had the choice, say you're Manchester United or Manchester City or indeed Chelsea or anyone else for that matter, which one would you take? Harry Kane's he's about 27.
What about if I chuck Lukaku in there as well? Lukaku.
You can chuck whoever you want in there. Would you take Lukaku ahead of either of those two? He's had a great season at Inter.
He has. He's not on the list.
No, he's not. But we can talk about him. It doesn't really matter. We'll have 11. Welcome to BBC Match of the Day Top 11 podcast. There'll be lots of other players we could have on this list as well. Lots.
If you're talking financial-wise, then because of the age of Haaland, then it would. You would get more for your money, I think, in terms of longevity, etc.
Do you think he's absolutely guaranteed, Haaland, right? Whereas Kane and Lukaku would guarantee you?
Yeah, I think Harry.
He's so young.
Harry's the article. You know what you're going to get with him. You know.
Yeah.
Certainly in the Premier League, he's done it for a number of years. There's no concern from that point of view. So you're almost guaranteeing goals for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But with Haaland, you're thinking it could be 8 or 9 years, couldn't it? And there's a sell-on value as well.
Could be 12.
So how much is it going to cost, though? How much Harry Kane going to cost realistically?
I don't know, because he's at an age where you're not really going to get anything back. But
what, has he got 3 years left on his current deal?
Exactly. So, Levy's quite... He's
going to want
150
150 million plus, realistically. I'm not spending that on Harry Kane. Not a chance.
Well, you haven't got it, have you?
Well...
The money's getting paid.
Have you? Well, all those houses and the rent you get from all those footballers, you probably have. It's an interesting one. But, imagine, say, Kane signs for City, Haaland signs for Manchester United. Those two teams would be... That'd be good, wouldn't it?
No, but we still...
they could do with someone like that.
This is the problem with Kane now. He might not be able to leave. He might go somewhere where he doesn't really want to go. He might end up like PSG because they've got the money to spend with Poch. But ideally, he wants to go Man City. Or Man City are not going to pay the money for him. I'll put my neck on the line.
Well, they've never really gone above 70, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I think that would be a great move for him, PSG. I think that's where he should go.
Says the man who doesn't want his record being beaten.
But PSG would be a great move, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Barcelona. It's like Aguero's going there, isn't he?
Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. But I just can't see... I think he'll end up at Man United, to be honest.
Yeah.
That
wouldn't surprise me.
I think they'll pay the money. Man United or Chelsea, depending on what happens with Haaland.
You can't go from Tottenham to Chelsea.
Well, we did. Look at what Sol did.
Yeah, but
Sol did that on a free transfer.
Yeah, but
and he didn't even make
Harry's been there all his life.
He's
a top. I don't think he could do that to.
I don't think he could do that to the top. Calling.
I know.
It's hard.
What do you think, Alan?
That would be very difficult. I think that would be last on his list for him to go there.
Yeah, last but one, maybe Arsenal.
But I think they can't afford him, so he wouldn't go there.
No.
But in terms of the teams that we've mentioned,
we haven't even come to Harry Kane yet. We're talking about Harry Kane. So let's talk about Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba's interesting. Whether he'll be at Manchester United next, he's coming towards the end of his contract.
A year left.
Whether they'll renew him,
What's your thoughts on Pogba?
I love watching Pogba play. I like his grace. I like his. I think he's a beautiful footballer. I think he's one of those players, a little bit like Mesut Ozil, that looks like, because he's quite languid and the way he moves, I think it deceives people into thinking he doesn't care that much. When I suspect he absolutely does, and I've seen him put in great performances. Has he been consistent enough over the period at Manchester United? Probably not quite.
I was just about to say, when you say he's put in some great performances, you think there've been enough? What they spent on him?
Yeah, I wonder if he thinks he's putting enough good performances himself. But he has for France, and we're talking about the Euros, and he obviously he's a World Cup winner. He was brilliant in that World Cup. A couple of the passes he hit, remember, for Mbappé. And
it wouldn't surprise me at all if towards the end of the tournament we're talking about Paul Pogba and France quite a lot.
Yeah,
I think he could.
And the other thing, of course, I think perhaps one of the reasons why he's been so good for France and perhaps not is Kante.
Of course.
And he's not in this list, but
no disrespect, you got Kante, and you go Man United, you got Fred.
There's a
difference.
That's
not a disrespect to Fred.
No, it's just a fact.
It's just honesty, isn't it? And come on, I think if Pogba was to stay at Man United and get some reinforcements, there'll be a good outfit next season. And I hope he stays because I agree with you, he's not done it consistent enough. I think that's a fair assessment of the situation.
It's a beautiful football to watch, though.
Yeah, he is.
He's stylish and his passing range. And
we've not seen it enough. I don't think we've seen it, and that's probably part of the frustration with him is that it's in there. There's no doubt about it. There's a very, very talented footballer in there. And it might be because he didn't feel as if Man United were going to the right place. A number of bigger players that he thought they should be signing or playing better football. But I think he'll have a good Euros.
Yeah,
I agree.
Be interesting to see. It's very interesting to me that you've got Cristiano Ronaldo as low as 8. Is that an age thing?
No,
You're ageist?
I'm definitely ageist. I've got to be careful. I'll get in trouble for that, won't I? I just feel like now he's still doing the business, and he's
not quite.
He's just
a little bit of
bit late, but he's still doing the business.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, he's still scoring. But you see where Juventus are in the league. And normally you just think, the winner, we've got Ronaldo. And I just think it's starting to turn a little bit.
But it has to. You can't defy Father Time.
Exactly. But I think there's a new star for Portugal coming through now. And that's Fernandes. Yeah. And I think he'll start taking on...
João Felix as well, possibly.
But João Felix, he's...
Not quite done it yet. He's got a way to go.
He's still quite...
There are some good players, Portugal. They'll have a chance, won't they? I mean, Diaz as well, obviously, and Jota.
But Ronaldo will, even if he doesn't play, that we were seeing in the final, when he didn't play, he still has a massive influence. That was, when they won the Euros. But I think on the pitch, it won't be as great as what we have seen in the past, because there's a next breed coming through now. He will still score, but I don't think it'll be the impact.
I just think, given who he is and what he's achieved, and with this team, it wouldn't surprise me if he just had one last hurrah and was to go out with a bang and get a couple of goals. And I agree with the squad that Portugal have. Then they won't be far away.
No. Which brings us to Bruno. Well, we'll go with Bruno Fernandes now. You've got him in 8th, and Micah, you've clearly got him in your top 5. But what an impact that player has had at Manchester United. It's almost transformed them really into a competitive team once again.
Well, they were an average team, floating along, and they needed something special and someone big to come in, and basically he grabbed that club by the scruff of the neck and pulled them higher up that league. And it was all about him. He was the one that changed the
goals, assists, attitude, commitment, leadership, a lot.
Everything, because they were very, very average until he went into that football club. And then all of a sudden, he started scoring assists, and everyone else, I think, sort of grew.
He was the catalyst.
Yeah, grew around him and got better in and around him. So, he's been a game changer for Man United.
Yeah, great signing. Even
as isn't of the blue, I had him as my player of the season up to about 2 months ago, and then the Champions League performances from City. I think Diaz would just be
Did you go Diaz? Or De Bruyne?
No, you know what? It's interesting with De Bruyne because obviously it's Premier League. And the spell where City was doing really well, Aguero and De Bruyne wasn't playing.
No, he was out injured for a while. That's why I went for Diaz. What did you vote for?
Diaz.
Diaz in the Football Writers.
Yeah.
Probably why he won, because De Bruyne was just missed a part of the season. I don't know. You could given it one of a few Manchester City players, including the aforementioned Gundogan as well.
Yeah, but in terms of
Fernandes probably. If your top 6, there wouldn't be many players outside of Manchester City, would there? But he'd be one of them, possibly Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, probably another one, isn't he? With his goals and assists. But Diaz for me.
Yeah, Diaz has been. But Fernandes has been, like you said, he's been revelation at Man United.
Yeah,
he's the one that's, like you said, changed it.
Yeah.
And now you can see the likes of Pogba wanting to stay now. That's the
difference. When they see there's a possible future, and all they're probably a couple of players away from being a really competitive team now, aren't they?
If they got Kane,
Yeah.
if they got another
Central
proper
defender
midfielder,
probably as well.
centre half, and a midfielder, then it's proper team then.
Yeah, that's 3.
Yeah.
Phil Foden. Obviously, there's a lot of great young players going into this tournament. We've picked Phil Foden because he's been so exceptional this season. He's still very. I mean, I know you got a smile on your face. You got a lovely big grin.
You know why I'm grinning? Because I was talking about him 18 months ago.
Yeah, so was I.
To be fair, he was as well. It was only me and you banging on about him, to be honest. And I wasn't
says the ambassador for Man City.
But that's what I mean. Every time I'm talking about City, people say, "Oh, you only said it because of City." See, I have to be careful. But I just, I've been lucky enough to watch him train.
Yeah.
And he's the best player in training with all them players. So I'm thinking, this is not normal, this. Yeah. There's only him and Kevin
His little
De Bruyne,
feints, his moves,
the way he
he's
moves.
quick,
But it's his touch and it's not just his first touch, it's his second touch. That gets him away from the defenders as well. He just keeps getting better and better and better. The only one criticism I have, not of him, is the system.
What's his position, Mike, do you think?
He's so good he can play anywhere.
Yeah.
Just anywhere.
Where do you think he'd be absolutely at his best?
Number 10, but you don't get number 10s no more.
The thing is, he can play false 9, he can play left, he can play. I think he's good on the right. I like him on the right.
He's 10 all right.
Or 6 or 8. He could play. You could play if he wanted to. Gaz could play one holding player, couldn't he? Say Rice, and then he could play Mount and Foden. I like the sound of that. I think and they've got amazing energy, the two of them.
Exactly.
I think as a manager, whether he'd be brave enough to play that many forward-thinking players on the pitch, I'm not sure.
He would. I would think he's slightly concerned defensively, so I think he'll go in with.
I think so too.
Midfielders, yeah.
But thoughts on Foden?
We did a game earlier in the season for the FA Cup, and I compared him to Gaza and Paul Scholes. Didn't do that lightly because those were two greats of football, and I don't regret saying that. Everything that I've seen since and before tells me he's very, very talented, and if it's a big if, because there's so many things can go wrong. If he gets a little bit of luck and all of those things, then
of all the young English players, obviously because he's in our top 10, you picked him above, but it's quite exciting, isn't it? If you look at Sancho, who plays in Germany, so a lot of us here don't see him as much as we do other players, but I've seen a lot of him, and he can play that boy.
He's tasty.
He can really play. Bellingham is also there. He's 17? 17. He's unbelievable. He's the performances. The 2 games against City. He was right up there in the best players on the pitch.
He dominated the midfield.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Dominate midfield at 17? Normally you can have one good performance and it's like, oh, he's had a good game. Yeah. But 2 games.
If you've got it's that old adage, isn't it? If you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah, but this is what how have we not? Why is he at Dortmund? Why have we not got him at?
It's good for him at Dortmund, Michael. It's a great experience for him. He's learning a different culture.
I get that.
It'll bring him forward
as well here, don't you think?
Yeah, but well,
Manchester United were desperate for him. I know that, and they thought they got him. They were really close, but in the end, he opted for the chance. He knew he would play with Dortmund. He was 16, and they promised. They can say to a kid, that's why they get these players. You will play. Haaland, you will be playing in our team. Whereas a club like Manchester United can't tell a 16-year-old that you're going to be in the starting lineup.
Well, they should do. With Fred. I like McTominay.
Yeah,
I like McTominay, but if you're thinking, well, we've got a midfielder, we've got Bellingham. Yeah. But that's the problem with these clubs that come too late. Yeah. I think it's brilliant that he's going out there and getting that experience, and he's sort of out the spotlight a little bit.
He's certainly getting any of the first teams now. Pretty much any of them. I think he really does look super.
Do you see anyone having the impact, and we've spoken about Rooney in previous podcasts, 18 going into his year.
Well, I think Bellingham could do that if Gareth's brave enough to play him. He's already played for England a couple of times, and he didn't look out of place.
Got some seriously talented young players.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and
really good.
That's without even mentioning the likes of Sterling and Rashford, who are, you know, now in their prime. Harry Kane in his prime.
So for the first time in a while, there's going to be big expectations on England.
Yeah, that's a different thing that you'll have to deal with this time. I mean, there's always expectations in England because even though in the last few tournaments you start to think, well, England they haven't really got much chance. But by the time the tournament starts, it doesn't make any difference. But this time, a bit different. Right, let's go on to our top fives, please. Micah?
I've gone Kane 5.
Kane 5.
Fernandes 4. Lewandowski 3. De Bruyne 2. And Mbappé number 1.
Thought he might be one. What a player. Right, Alan?
I've gone Lewandowski 5, Ronaldo 4, Harry Kane 3, Kevin De Bruyne 2, and Mbappé 1.
Yeah, same top 2.
We agree again.
Well, you've all, yeah.
On the top 2 anyway.
I would have been very surprised if Mbappé hadn't been at top of them. But Lewandowski, though, I mean, unbelievable goal scorer and really done it in one of the major tournaments. I suppose, you know, Poland are not possibly the strongest of teams around, so he doesn't get the chances that he gets when he plays for Bayern Munich, obviously. But what a great striker.
I wish we had seen him in the Premier League, in our league.
Yeah, it'd been nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been, because he's as good as they come. I mean, his goal-scoring record
is
is
phenomenal.
outrageous.
Yeah.
Outrageously good.
In terms of goal-scoring records, he's kind of just behind. I mean, everyone's behind Messi and Ronaldo, but he's in the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's kind of matching that kind of goal a game record.
Yeah, what a player, and he's done it for so long now, hasn't he? As well. So
is he the best number 9 in the world?
Out and out centre forwards. Obviously, we're not going to include. Well,
Ronaldo's probably we've just said there's not many. We've named Lukaku, Lewandowski, Harry Kane, Haaland, Mbappé. Is he slightly different? Yeah. I suppose, but I mean, what a player Lewandowski is, and not playing in the best team with Poland and still got a record of 1 and 2, better than 1 and 2.
60 odd goals.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's pretty much a goal a game for Bayern Munich.
So who would you have? Who's your number 9?
It depends on
everything.
Now?
Just now. Forget age, forget everything, just now. Who's the best number 9?
In their prime? Or?
Forget Messi
Where they are
and Ronaldo.
Now.
Because they're superhuman.
Yeah, okay. Probably Lewandowski, for me, just edges it, I would say.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. There's so little to choose between. I think Harry Kane's probably got more all-round game, because Harry's got a bit more than just goal scoring. You have to say that, and he can drop deep and he can join play, and he's a great passer of the ball as well. So maybe Harry Kane, but if you take either of them, wouldn't you?
If it was anyone.
Yeah, they're probably the best 2 strikers around. Actually, out and out strikers, we should say, because obviously we've got Mbappé down there at 1, and those kind of players. Now, you both got Harry Kane. I mean, we talked about him with Lewandowski and where he is and stuff. You both got him in the top 5.
I think if England are to do well, then Harry Kane has to play well and score goals, doesn't he? I know we've spoken about how exciting this England team is going forward, and the number of youngsters we've got.
Harry Kane will be excited though, and he playing with this kind of talent. The chances that he could get, he could blow away not only your Premier League record, Alan, but he could also blow away Wayne Rooney's record.
I think it depends who he plays with, though. If Foden was to play on the right and Grealish left and Mount behind him, you know you're going to get passes left, right and centre. If you go with Sterling on the right and Rashford on the left, then you're getting runners in behind, but they're not going to give him the same through ball, are they? So it's who he wants to play with. He needs to as well stop coming so deep. He needs to trust the people behind him.
Do you think that the fact that there are so many good players now around him that he won't need to do that so much?
Yes. I agree with that. But I think sometimes it's a natural instinct. You know, when you're not... Strikers get upset when they don't get on the ball, don't they? And... I
don't know. I think you get upset when you're not getting chances.
Watching Harry Kane, it's like if he's not making an influence on the game...
Yeah, he drops deeper and deeper.
But he's not only coming back and trying to play passes, he's coming back and tackling. We don't need you to come back and tackle. No. We need you to stay up and trust the people behind him, because there's
What is
genuine
wrong
quality.
with strikers that want to come back and tackle? Why would you? Why would you do that, Alan?
Wouldn't bother me if I had one touch in the game, as long as it was the one that was in the back of the net.
They've got to trust. They've got to trust the midfielders.
It never bothered me if I didn't get involved in the game that much, apart as long as I felt like they were getting balls into the box. What you did you ever feel like, oh, I'm not getting a touch, I want to go deep and fiddle around with it?
I didn't really want to go deep at all. No, not at all. I wanted to stay up there.
Yeah.
Someone else can go deep.
Yeah. I mean,
the deeper you go, the less chance you got of scoring goals.
Yeah, you don't see Lewandowski necessarily. You don't see Jamie Vardy doing that. Leicester do. He just keeps making those runs and keep going. Yeah, but that's part of Kane's game, though, and he could play in that 10 role.
And by the way, he's very good at it.
He's bloody good at it. Yeah,
very good.
He really is. He's a brilliant all-round player.
I don't see that being a problem. Him doing that, playing the way he plays for Tottenham, the same for England, because I think with the talent that we've got with England,
and
that they'll be prepared to go in, and I think that'll cause teams problems. But I do think that if England are to do well, he will have to score goals and do well.
You both got him in second place. I totally agree with you. I would have got the same 1 and 2. Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, you know him well. We all know him well.
We're
We've
running
watched
out
him
of
for
words.
years.
He's so annoying doing analysis because he's the best player on the pitch every time he plays, him or Foden. So he just feels like you're repeating yourself, but he can play absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, and
has
done.
And he has done. But not just play there, affect the game, whether it's his passing, whether it's his way. He played, not necessarily this season, but the end of the last season, he played like defensive midfield, but he was breaking up play as well, and then playing. Do you remember that period? And I was like, and even for, I was speaking to Roberto Martinez about it, sometimes he likes to come too deep, and they were saying, no, stay a bit, because when he likes to play the ball quick. And he was talking about the lines of when Hazard gets on the ball and Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin likes to do things quick and Hazard slows it down a little bit.
Yeah,
and then he likes to go one-on-one. So he was finding the balance in trying to work out a system that they can both, be effective in the game. So Kevin De Bruyne, no matter where he plays, as long as he stays fit, he'll have a massive impact on this tournament.
Forward's dream.
Oh, you'd love to play
Forward's
with him,
dream.
Oh,
I mean,
the crosses,
the balls into the box. He finds it. He's just got that great ability to whip that ball in with pace and finds you and picks you out. So that's why I say a forward's dream.
They'll have a chance, Belgium, won't they?
Yep.
Have to. I mean, have they got enough depth?
The defence is getting a little bit older. They've got experience.
Yeah.
They had problems in the midfield, so then Donker was playing it. I know he's playing it for, but Witsel was out injured, being out injured, and he's a key player for them. So have they got a full squad, 11? They'll be good, but like the strength in depth, that's where they'll
find
struggle.
them out again.
That's where they'll struggle.
Right, leaves us with one. He's a global superstar. He's already won the World Cup. He's
Kylian
Mbappé. I love that boy. What a player. He's so exciting. The pace, the skill, the brilliance, the finishing.
Well against him though. Although he did have a knock the weekend before, didn't he? And then he didn't play in the second leg. He didn't play
in the second leg. No, they missed him
badly. But if he's fully fit, he's my favourite player. He's like one of my favourite players ever.
Already?
Already. That's
still
how
only,
good he is.
22?
You just love to watch him. He just moves like Henry. I think I know I'm going to make myself look stupid here, but I think he could end up better than Henry.
Why does that sound stupid?
Because Henry's,
Yeah, but no, I think that's a fair comparison. I think that could well happen. He's already well en route to do. Do you think I think there's every chance he could probably be at Real Madrid next season, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But do you think he needs probably to go to another? I mean, the French league's getting better and more competitive, but
yeah, I think he'll go to another club. I think he maybe have done his time, maybe another season. But other than that, I see him at another club. But what a talent!
The only reason he might stay is because Neymar signed a new deal, didn't he? So if Neymar's going to stay, you'd think, well, if my mate's staying, why not stay as well?
Though. Maybe you don't like him.
It won't be far away, will it, France?
No. All right, it brings it to it. We might as well do this now. Let's. Who do you fancy in this? Who do you fancy, Alan? Who are you going to tip in this tournament?
Well, I'm not so much a tip, but I'm going to say France. Because
well, they have to be favourites, don't they? I mean, they
look at the players that you mentioned.
World Cup holds.
And
it will make a big. The fact Benzema's been recalled after all this time, which I mean, that's huge for them.
Well,
I mean, I know Olivier Giroud's done fine for them, but he's on another level, isn't he, Benzema? And that's a massive boost for them, isn't it? Benzema, Griezmann, Mbappé, Kante, Pogba. Unbelievably great central defenders, loads of them.
We got Upamecano as well.
Upamecano's struggled a little bit this season, but he's Varane.
That's why France are favourites.
Oh my! You know what? I'm going to pick someone out of the.
Go on.
I'm going to say Belgium.
You just said they haven't got the strength in depth just 5 minutes ago.
No, but I think.
Check that glass, see what's in that glass.
Who's put vodka in my glass here?
Short-term memory.
No. You said it might struggle them going further. But I said for the 11, I'm going to go keep the 11 fit. I'm going to stick with Belgium.
Are you?
Yes.
Well, good for you.
And you?
I've got the favourites. Got the favourites.
I think France will take a lot of beating, but as a little outs, I think it might be a tad too early for England. I think we'll in the next World Cup, in next winter, a little bit more mature team. I think they'll have a real chance. I think we'll be competitive in this one. I think we'll do well, but I got a sneaky feeling that Portugal might hold on to it. Yeah. They've got an unbelievably good squad. As an outside bet, they're not one of the favourites, but if you had put my life on it, I'd say France. But as a little outside possibility, Portugal, they're in the same group as France and Germany.
All right, I'm going to go outside bet. I'm going to go England then.
England are favourites.
But they're not really favourites, though.
Well, they're
probably favourites in this country.
Yeah, because everyone backs them.
Because everyone backs them. England can't be favourites.
No, they shouldn't be favourites.
They shouldn't be favourites.
France should be favourites.
Yeah, France should be favourites.
But yeah,
I'm gonna go England.
Which one?
What's happened to
Belgium?
Belgium?
I'm going. You've persuaded me. I'm going England.
That's all right.
I'm putting my neck on the line.
Yeah.
And they're not favourites. They might be favourites in this country, but they're not favourites.
No, they shouldn't be. No. Well, good stuff. There we have it. So those are our potential stars and potential winners of Euro 2021 or 2020, are they calling it? Let us know what you think. We'll light up the tournament using the hashtag MOTD Top 10. We'll see you soon.
A huge summer of live cricket is upon us, and the Test Match Special podcast brings you the best insight and analysis from the TMS team.
That first over was incredible. That has been a 10 out of 10 performance.
With previews and reaction from the biggest games from international Test Series, One Day and T20 matchups, the 100 and County Championship cricket. Plus, there's exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the game.
Get the opportunity to play for England, to play Test cricket, to be walking out, Kevin Pearson stood at the other end. I just couldn't stop smiling.
The Test Match Special podcast. Listen on the BBC Sounds app.